Let me take you back to 4 days that none of you remembers, because none of you has been alive back then. And the first day that we are going back is 2,500 years ago, and we go to Greece. And there was a Greek philosopher called Zeno of Elea. And he came up with a paradox that he called Achilles and the tortoise. So I brought a turtle. Welcome the turtle. So I put it up here. And Achilles, some of you may know Achilles, especially if you've seen the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, right? Where he kills this guy with one stab, and then he asks, is there no one else, right? So I browsed the Bay Area toy stores, and I got our Achilles. It's obviously not Achilles season right now, so I bought a bunny that I call also Achilles. And the paradox was the following. He said he put those two on a racetrack. And it's not that race that you know, where the bunny is so cocksure of winning that he takes a nap and the turtle wins, but it's different. Zeno said, okay, we know that the rabbit is much faster, so we give the turtle head start, right? We give you this distance head start. And the bunny is twice as fast as the turtle, right? So the bunny is twice as fast as the turtle. And then we either shoot an arrow or play a harp or something like that, and that is the signal for the run. So the bunny gets crazy and runs like in order to get there. But as we know, of course, the turtle also started running. But the turtle is half as fast. She got only half the distance here. Yeah? The bunny sees that and continues running here, and reaches the place where the turtle was, but the turtle, of course, is, again, half the distance forward, so she's a quarter distance now ahead of the bunny. The bunny gets angry, continues running, comes in here, and now the turtle is already an eighth of the distance forward. You see the pattern? Yeah? So when we think it through, and this is Zeno's paradox, the bunny never reaches the turtle. Yeah, the turtle will always be this little distance ahead. And you think, what's wrong here? What's happening here? Of course, we know from our experience that at some point in time, the bunny will pass by the turtle and win. Now, how would I call that? I call them not racers, I call them innovators. One of them is a slow innovator, and the other one a fast innovator. And what is an innovator? An innovator is somebody who discovers something new or invents something original and doesn't just stop there, but brings it to the people so that they get value out of that they can innovate. Now, the slow innovator, the incremental innovator, think of somebody who knows exactly where to go, improve the diesel engine by 10% exhaust emissions, reducing that, or 3% performance, and go slowly and slowly and slowly, and the next year is 5% improvement, 3% improvement, 1% improvement, and then somewhere it will hit a wall. While the bunny, the fast innovator, well, they're crazy. If you ever had a bunny, you know how crazy they are. I had multiple of them. So they are jumping around, going in this direction, going in that direction, going up, going down, and sometime they will pass them and just toss them over and disrupt them. The directions may indicate wrong directions, hybrid engines, electrical engines in that direction, and so on. What am I looking at here? What the bunny does is he shows no respect. He shows no respect when I had a bunny. He shows no respect for me. He never did what I told him. He showed no respect for my things. He bit into all the furniture and the books that I had in his hate. And he didn't have any respect for himself. Bunnies can look really, really silly. Yeah, so what is respect? Respect is, and why is it important for innovation? That's what we learn. Respect is when we admire somebody or show deference to something. And respect is something that is very important. It's a social glue. It makes social transactions smoother. But sometimes respect can be bad. Respect can be bad insofar because we're not asking the important question, because we fear by asking somebody, this person may be offended, or we may not show respect to them. And I give you 3 examples where we show these different things of how such innovators were working. The first one is, we go back to the year 1840 to Vienna, Austria. There was a young doctor called Ignaz Semmelweis. And Ignaz Semmelweis was Austrian-Hungarian born, and he came into one of these clinics. There were 2 clinics back then at this time. And he realized that in his first clinic, in this maternity ward that he was assigned to, there was a mortality rate of up to 30%. That means a third of the women who came here to give childbirth didn't come out alive of that situation. On the other hand, there was a second clinic, and in the second clinic, the mortality rate was only at 4%. And he was puzzled. He looked at that and said, what's going on here? So he observed the situation and figured out that this first clinics was not just a maternity ward, but it was a training facility for new doctors. Not that they were bad, but they had an autopsy room, for example. And whenever they came dissecting bodies there, they didn't wash hands back then, just came like this into the maternity ward and helped deliver the babies. In 1840, the theory about germs and bacteria was not yet fully developed. So this was, of course, something that they were not sure if this is the thing. So they didn't wash hands. Already back then, men were pigs. In the second clinics, there were only midwives. There was no autopsy room. That's why they had no stuff there that could infect the women. So he started to look at that and said, that must be the case. It must have something to do with the cadaverous particles that these people, that these doctors carry from the autopsy room to the maternity ward. And he forced to question the process. He said, why are we doing it like this? We need to wash our hands. And the doctor said, well, we've always done it like this. Yeah, that's how we operate. And he said, he forced them, no, you have to change it, you have to wash. They washed their hands. As it turns out, that brought down the mortality rate down to 4%, as it was the case in this other hospital. So Ignaz Semmelweis didn't pay respect to the way things were done. He questioned things. He asked the questions. Let me bring you a second example, now from England. In 1880, there was an engineer, an English engineer called Charles Parsons, and he invented the steam turbine. This was a propulsion system for boats that brought the boats up to 34 knots. That was 20% faster than any ship could go back then. What would you do as a proud inventor? You would show that everyone, right? You would go to the Navy and talk to the Admiralty. You go to the shipbuilders. You go to government. What happened? What do you think happened? They were, yeah, finally. No, they already rejected him outright. So he got frustrated, depressed, but the opportunity came in 1880 when Queen Victoria celebrated her Diamond Jubilee, and the Royal Navy had set up a huge fleet parade. 2 lines of ships were going there. In front of the Prince of Wales, in front of the whole Admiralty, and suddenly, unannounced, out of nowhere, a steam turbine ship came in there with Charles Parsons on it, zigzagging between the lines, embarrassing everyone. The Navy, of course, was upset about that. They sent a picket boat after him to catch him, but he was too fast for them. We did public embarrassment in the end. Within 2 years, it was clear every new ship that was commissioned by the Royal Navy had to be equipped with a steam turbine. So Charles Parsons didn't pay respect to the people there. Let me go to the third one. Have anyone been at the porta potty outside? Yeah? So you're going to bathrooms, to little boys' rooms, right? You're taking a crap. Have you ever wondered where this phrase, taking a crap, comes from? Let me introduce you to the English plumber, Thomas Crapper. Here we go, right? No, he did not invent the flush toilet, but he held 9 patents on the flush toilet and improved on that. He was also a plumber. He had a showroom for flush toilets, and he promoted that strongly. Back then, in the 1900s, thousands of people every year died because of these poor sanitary conditions, yeah? And many more got sick. Now, with that invention coming out there, we could reduce the mortality rate and the sickness rate. Now, think of that just a little bit, yeah? So it became synonymous, taking a crap, because this guy was called Thomas Crapper, and he was the most well-known flush toilet vendor and installer. Now think of yourself. Could you imagine your own name behind such a phrase? You know, think of it. You cannot unthink it. Yeah? You go home and then you think, taking a Mario. How would you feel about that? Well, he didn't give a crap for that. He actually didn't respect himself, or didn't pay respect. Now, does it mean these people, these inventors that we heard about, they're not giving respect at all? Well, actually they do. Ignaz Semmelweis paid a lot of respect to the women who died there. So he looked at them, he looked at this problem. Charles Parsons, he looked at how much, what his country deserves, what's the respect for his country. And Thomas Crapper looked at basically humanity here. With that, with innovation, we try to improve humanity. Now, I think for some countries, of course, respect, or some cultures, respect is something that's difficult. Yeah? We need to wear respect. We show respect to elders. We show respect to status, people of status. We show respect to our parents. But sometimes we need to really make sure that the questions that we're asking are not about respect, or not about asking the status quo. It's about really improving humanity. Now let's take a look at, we are in the Silicon Valley. And there are a lot of companies who are getting actually in trouble with these kind of things because they seem to be respectless, disrespectful. They're coming with business models or with innovations that question the status quo of others, like electric vehicles questioning the status of a diesel engine, yeah? Or a taxi service, a new kind of taxi service questioning the status quo of an old taxi service where there's an information disbalance, or a room rental company questions the status of hotels. Is this disrespectful? Well, depends on what side you are. If you are the one who creates the diesel engine, yeah, and you're caught actually at building cheat software, you're not only going step by step or slow, you actually push back the poor turtle here. And this is the bigger disrespect that you do. You're only paying respect to your own bank account and wallet, but not for the higher benefit of society. Now, I want you to get up, because it's late in the day. I'm the third last speaker. You're nearly done. My body's hurting as well. And I want you to stand there, put your hands like that, because I think we need to be a little bit more like bunnies, right? Let me get prepared for that too. So we need to look a little bit more silly and be bunnies. And I ask you now to hop at the place. Like hop there and be a little bit more silly and disruptive innovators.